What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Formula America podcast. We're your hosts, Kurt and Dylan, and we are fresh off the heels of what I can only describe.
Race.
Right. I was about to say an eventful weekend and a boring race.
Yeah, it was.
I felt like we had such high hopes coming into this weekend. It's Suzuka. You know, the drivers love it. It's a classic track. It just doesn't work anymore, I guess. Or maybe it just, I don't know. It wasn't working out for them, for anybody this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like kind of the same issue with Monaco or, you know, some of these other tracks that are smaller lanes and no real DRS. I mean, yeah, Suzuka has one DRS, but it's not super long. It's like, this is an old school track made to be passed like in the corners and whatnot. And I don't know with how big these cars are, or just maybe the drivers are used to DRS. I don't know, but the passing was very limited.
I'm looking right now. Somebody did a great graph. It's like a line graph. Yep. In the top 10, the only drivers that changed position was Hamilton and Hadjar. Hamilton passed Hadjar.
Yeah.
Other than that, in the top 10, nobody else changed. And even looking farther down, even the changes that did take place, there wasn't much going on. It was an absolute, I guess, snooze fest of a race. But
yeah,
leading up to it,
good.
I was leading up to it. There was a lot going on. Like a lot happened in quali. There was more red flags than I've ever seen for the grass just catching on fire, which is probably just the most excitement. If that would have happened during the race, if it didn't rain, I think the rain ruined it. Because if you had 3-4 red flags throughout the race, it would have been complete chaos.
Well, the funny thing was apparently that was some of the team's plan. They straight up, Aston Martin came out, Cal came out and said that their whole plan with Lance Stroll was waiting on a safety car or a red flag. That's why they put him on softs. Like their plan was hoping for that, which is not a good plan. But obviously, hence 20th place. But
running on hopes and dreams.
You got McLaren apparently running on hopes and dreams as well. You had 2 cars behind Max. Should we shake things up a little bit? Should we throw some strategy in the pit stops to pit against him, or no? Let's do the dumbest pit stop strategy since Ferrari 2022.
I can't make any excuses. That was bad.
I don't know why. Why would you pit Piastri first? Lando was, 1.5 seconds off Max. You pit the lead driver, give him the undercut chance. Instead, you pit Piastri. He falls back into traffic, and then the next lap you pit Lando with Max, and Lando tries to cut the lawn. It was dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. That one was kind of weird to me. At least stay out a little bit while Max comes in. Stay out for another lap or two. Don't do the exact same thing. It's like you're trying to, then you're just banking that you're going to beat them in the pit stop, which, I mean, they almost did. But actually, I saw a story that came out that said that there's 2 Red Bull mechanics that are twins, and they had a family emergency, so they had to leave. And so they had 2 stand-ins in the pit crew, and they're saying that's why Max's pit stop was a little bit slower than it normally is. Because I mean,
a little bit slower.
McLaren
I think it
has
was 2.6 versus 2.3. I mean,
right,
splitting hairs a little bit here.
I know McLaren has the record for the fastest pit stop, but also Red Bull is always one of the top pit crews. So I'm not going to bank my pit crew against their pit crew. I would rather stay out another lap or another couple laps or something other than come in and trying to win it in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, if you had Sauber's pit crew out there, okay, I might take the risk. Not
They're
Red
just
Bulls.
chasing lug nuts around.
Yeah, I didn't get that. And then Lando driving straight off the track, and immediately he forced me off. Bro, you drove straight into the grass.
Look, I do not blame him for that. I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, he pushed me. I mean,
Max
you got to try
knew he
something.
was going to do it. Max was on the radio going, he drove straight. Everyone's aware, right? We all saw that. I didn't have to push him. I was in front. He drove into the grass, just being,
I mean, that's the only chance he had in that race. There was no other chance. So
yeah. Yeah, it was that was about all of the excitement. I think I skipped laps 35 through 48. Just started jumping ahead. Nothing happened. Scoreboard's the exact same still.
Yeah. I love the compilation of all the drivers post race interviews, and it's like, yep, this is a boring race. Boring race. This race sucked. This was a lonely race. Everybody said the same thing, basically. Carlos Sainz even called it the new Monaco, basically.
Yeah.
Which sucks. It's such a good track. It is such a fun track to drive on the simulator. It's just an awesome track. I just wish the racing was better.
How do we make the racing better? Like at a certain point, is it the size of the cars? Is it what has changed?
I don't know.
Do we need to just put sprinklers all over the track? And so we're like, and wet race now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, aside from trying to generate some sort of jeopardy, like the new Monaco rule where it's a mandatory 2-stopper, I think honestly, aside from that, it's not going to happen. It's the cars. The cars are too big. The cars are too fast. It's just, I don't know. I think the only way around it is for a big time regulation change, where the cars are more suited to tracks like this. Unfortunately, it seems like all the good tracks are the ones that are starting to become boring races.
The Silverstone's still going to deliver,
yep.
but yeah, otherwise all the old tracks are getting a little tough. Really, I mean, we had Doohan hit the wall at 50 Gs. That was definitely, he looked like he was hurting, understandably so.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a crash.
I think did you see how he had to get helped out of the car at the end? Which is like, for him, it's tough, right? Like he is in such a precarious situation with his career right now. He understands it. He's underperforming. He goes out and wrecks it. He got 3 laps in for practice or something like that. And so, I mean, now he's potentially what it looks like concealing some sort of injury. I mean, because he can't take out. What's he going to do? Be like, oh, I'm hurt. I can't race. And they're going to be like, okay,
all
perfect.
Right, thanks. That made it
You're
easy.
gone. Yeah, exactly. So now he's having to suck it up. And now, it's just, I think the writing's on the wall. And you could kind of see his post-quali interview. You could tell he was just deflated, completely deflated.
Yeah. Let's talk about the lead, other than Max winning the race. The next lead racing Red Bull driver was not who any of us expected, with Isaac Hadjar beating out both Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda in a Red Bull. I'm going to put a big asterisk there because, Yuki's learning a difficult car to drive. He didn't lose space. He performed in quali super well, was only a couple hundredths off of Max, but then went out in Q2. And then there was just not a lot of passing that happened. But that's pretty hilarious that Isaac Hadjar is the lead outside of Max.
Dude, I will say I am becoming an Isaac Hadjar fan.
Yeah.
And then the whole issue he had during quali, where apparently it just came out where he had his balls being crushed by the seatbelt the whole time.
That'll make braking uncomfortable.
I was, and this is something we've mentioned in the past, but you and I were both in the military and we were airborne, so we were doing jumps. And I know that I've had a jump before where you're coming down and the harness is completely crushing one of your balls. And the only thing I can think about is getting to the ground, and that's only like a minute.
Yeah,
this guy is having to drive at 200 miles an hour, hit breaking points, all this, and then still makes it up into he was in like Q3, wasn't he?
Yeah, made it all the way to Q3,
which is incredible. Kudos for that guy for just absolutely just sucking it up and just dealing with it. Well,
the funny thing, in Q1, he was like, I'm so sorry if our qualifying it goes away because of this. Like, and you're like, dang, man, that's pretty bad. Also, he makes it into Q2. Then he's in Q3, and you're like, maybe strap that guy down like that more often. Someone adjust Lawson straps over there like at Hadjar's.
Like, hey, Liam, we want to try something. Was it like you're a rodeo guy? Don't they like do that to bulls or something like that?
No,
to make
that's a myth. That chase rope isn't there.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was pretty wild. We had Leclerc and Russell, who were silent the entire race, coming in 4th and 5th. Russell was just doing his, usual, waiting for something to happen up front and sneak onto the podium. Leclerc came out and said this was the absolute best he could have hoped for out of the car this weekend, that it performed as well as it possibly could. That was the best. He didn't even seem upset about it because I think he just had a great race. Just isn't as fast as Max and those McLarens.
You know what I thought was interesting was you got to see that Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Antonelli both came out of the pits together. Kimi was on hards, Lewis was on mediums. And, I'm thinking, Lewis is about to make quick work out of this. Lewis could not make any ground on him. That's when he came. He was like, please tell me where I'm slow. And I saw
laps corners 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Okay, by how much? And 11, 12, 13, and 14.
He's like, I'm not finished yet. But I did see a graph talking about the tire deg and all that, and the hard tire was a faster tire. It was the fastest tire of the weekend, essentially.
I think
the soft tire was quick for like two laps. I think 3 laps is where it peaked, and that was it.
Yeah, I think there's just so much lateral stress on those tires. The mediums just couldn't take it.
Yeah, it was. I know it had to be frustrating for him, but man, Kimi Antonelli though, I feel like he's just is proving Toto Wolff absolutely right.
Yep.
He is looking so good right now.
Well, I was thinking about it, like him and Hadjar and Bierman are performing so well that it makes Lawson and Doohan and the other one. It's kind of hard to beat up on Bortoletto too much, but
yeah,
but like, it's like, okay, well, Lawson's got to learn the car again, right? He just got relegated back, and, why is he 45 seconds off of Hadjar? And you're like, oh, well, it's his first time back in that car. He needs to relearn it. Then you see those 3 rookies, all the way up at the top. Hell, Antonelli's got double the points, driver points in the championship as Lewis Hamilton does. Like, it's at a certain point, you're like, it's hard to make excuses when the other rookies are doing this good, this fast. Like,
yeah, it's Lawson is not looking too good right now.
Yeah, he finished 45 seconds behind Hadjar.
Golly, it's just the hits just keep coming for that guy.
On coming. Last thing I'm gonna we can move on to heroes and zeros, but just Max winning that race, I don't think any of us saw coming. I was amazed that he was able to outpace those McLarens. Like, obviously, I don't think the McLarens are the fastest car. I don't think there's any argument there, but I mean, it's not RB19 fast compared to everyone else. But the fact that Lando just could not make inroads on Max in any way, shape, or form. He was solid 2 seconds behind him the entire race is kind of wild. And I think so much of that is Max. I've seen so many things that compared Max turning in the corners to Lando and how much more he has to turn the wheel because of how much understeer there is, which is hard on the tires because you're scrubbing them sideways. Like, how did he pull that off? In quali, he didn't have a single purple sector, right? Like, the 3 sectors were owned by the 2 McLaren drivers, yet Max is on pole. Like, what an absolute drive from Max.
Yeah, he's still just week in and week out doing it. And he, like you said, definitely not in the fastest car, but he is a solid contender for that championship right now if this continues.
1 point behind
the fact that he's able, exactly, and he's sitting there as basically a single car team holding off the McLarens, just causing complete havoc at the top of the field, and nobody can do anything about it because he's just putting that car, which does not belong there, in these places just week in and week out. It's wild.
It's wild. It makes it fun to be. I've said it a lot of times. I'm not exactly a giant Red Bull fan at the moment, but I love to watch Max. I mean, it is reminiscent of early Lewis days or middle Lewis days, like where it's just fun to watch this dude be the best on the track.
It is. You're watching an absolute top tier athlete in his prime, and it's masterful. It's art. It's art at this point. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Heroes and zeros.
Yeah, there's not much else to talk about in the race. So
no, there's really not.
We could talk about is Carlos Sainz's $20,000 poop that he took.
We do need to talk about that.
That is wild. $20,000, 10,000 or euros, 10,000 of which is suspended. But still, man, that's even, and it's a medical thing. Like, the doctor was even like, "Hey, this is an issue," and they're like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter."
Yeah, that's. So for those of y'all that did not read up on it, Carlos Sainz was given a $10,000 fine with 10,000 more suspended for missing part of the national anthem because he had he had to go to the bathroom. But there was a doctor that was like, "No, he's got tummy aches. He's got tummy issues." And the FIA was like, "We don't care." It's kind of wild.
That's I mean, it's funny, but also like, what do you want the guy to crap his pants while he's standing there and he's in a white jumpsuit or white racing suit? Like, I don't know. I'd take the fine at that point as well, especially for one of these guys.
No kidding. The other, like the flip side of it that I think is funny is, when they passed this cussing ban, which hasn't been as big of a deal as they could have made it to be, one of the lines in there was like, if you say anything that makes the FIA look bad, that is grounds for a fine. What about like the old Uno reverse card? What if the FIA makes decisions that make them look stupid and bad like this? Can we citizens arrest and give them fines for looking stupid?
That would be every FIA decision, I feel like.
Yeah, it probably would get out of hand. But this is one of them where you're just like, really?
Yeah, I would appeal.
Yeah, I would definitely appeal. So,
all right.
Moving on.
Let's move it on. Heroes and zeros. Let's start with the zeros. Why don't you go ahead and start off this time?
Okay. First off is just the McLaren strategy. I think that it was just bad any way you slice it. And yeah, I think they could have done a lot more. They could have taken some risks. They were conservative. I could go on, but that one.
I feel like McLaren is always conservative. They are so conservative on their strategy. And when they've got two cars fighting at the top, Red Bull has one car. You can go a little wild. You could be a little loose and fast with your strategy on at least one of the cars.
Well, you could just have a decent strategy of just different ones. Hey, we're going to pit Lando and try the undercut. We're going to have Piastri go a little bit long, give him some free air. Then we'll pit him a couple laps later. Like, it's not even wild.
Yeah.
So, number two,
It's
I got
proven.
Stroll. Stroll qualified dead last, finished dead last. He was the only guy that got lapped. He was also my wild card to do well. Thank you, Stroll, for proving me wrong and putting you back on my naughty list as per usual. I could sign off right there, but I'm going to throw Lawson on there. I don't want to beat a broken record or, but that not a good sign.
Especially when everybody was talking about how like, oh, you're gonna drop him right before Suzuka. That's a track that he's raced at, numerous times. He's an expert at that track. I mean, yeah, you are in a brand new car for this weekend, but also that was just bad.
Yeah,
just bad.
Not good. So those are mine.
All right. Well, my zeros. I also have McLaren strategy on there. It's just, come on, guys, do something a little bit extra. I think that they had an opportunity.
Just try.
Yeah, just try. So I got those guys on there. My other one, I got old doo-doo hands, Jack Doohan. Man, I think he had it was his first or second lap when he forgot to close the DRS, or maybe
he didn't forget
I don't know.
to close it. So that came out. Apparently in Alpine Simulator, he could take that at that turn flat out without closing the DRS. So that's what he did. So kudos for the giant cojones to be doing 200 miles an hour and go, nope, I'm not closing that rear flap. But it turned out the simulator was wrong. Alpine, you might want to make some adjustments to the real car. That didn't work.
The Alpine simulator is just like a Nintendo 64.
It's probably like a PS2. It's gone up a little bit.
Yeah, right. Just the balls on him to think that nobody else is doing it, but he's cracked the code.
But this Alpine can do it.
At first lap, just Leroy Jenkins. It's like right into the wall.
So, but yeah.
So him, it's not a good time for him to be doing this. He knows he's on a thin line, thin rope at this point. And man, now he's potentially injured heading into what's the next one? Jeddah, right?
Bahrain.
Bahrain? Okay. So yeah, Jack Doohan's is on there. And then my last one, I'm gonna just say us. We're losers in this. Like, it was just a bad weekend.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good race. It was not entertaining. Just the racing was boring. And I hope that it gets better. Hopefully next week will be a lot better. But I think we all lost out on that one.
Yeah, I concur. Let's go with the heroes. Who you got, Kurt?
All right, so my first hero, spoke about him before, but I have to give it to Kimi Antonelli.
Heck yeah.
I think that he was incredible. I love it when his engineer came over and was like, "You're the fastest man on lap." And he's like, "I'm giving it all I got, mate." Like, whatever he said. I was like, I felt him in that moment. And it's like, I'm becoming a fan of Kimi and also my next hero, Isaac Hadjar.
Yeah.
These guys, they are kind of shining, like you said earlier with Dim and Behrman, they're shining and the other guys are kind of floundering, except for Bortoleto. I think Bortoletto's doing the most that he can. There's been some really bright glimmers of hope with Bortoleto.
Did you hear about Bortoleto asking Max about strategy?
Yeah, that was before, what was it, Australia, I think, or whatever the rainy one was. And he was like, yeah, inners.
Yeah, go ahead, do inners, bud. Just go ahead.
I mean, from what it comes down to, it seems like all the people in the paddock actually like the kid.
Yeah.
And so I'll give it, my second one was to Isaac. And my third one is, I'm going to go with Max. I mean, you have to. Max just absolutely outdrove the car. Flawless weekend. I think that was a well-deserved pole position, a well-deserved win, and it was fun to watch.
It was. I'm gonna double tap on Max, and I'm gonna change it up. I've got some alternates. And Alex Albon, 9th place finish, first time in his Williams career to have 3 consecutive finishes with points. He was spicy on the radio for a little while. That was really entertaining. He is in the driver's standings. He's above Lewis Hamilton. So I want to give it to Albon.
Dude, Albon's absolutely killing it right now. And he's, I know Carlos is in a new car, but he is way outshining Carlos when everybody thought Carlos was going to get in there and just wipe the floor with Alex. And I love to see this new spicy Alex. Maybe the little chili peppers rubbing off on him. I love it.
Maybe so. And then to give it to the other rookie, Behrman.
Yeah.
In a Haas, points finishing 8 places in front of Ocon, which just warms my heart in general. Just you gave it to Hadjar and Antonelli, but Behrman's right there in a car that's not as good. And he's still, outshining his teammate and just doing awesome stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. That kid has a bright future, probably replacing Lewis Hamilton at some point.
Probably. Pretty wild. Let's move on over to our
predictions.
Which, did we get anything? I don't think I got a thing.
I thought you got P2.
I got Norris. Hey, check that out. Cool. Okay, anyway. Makes me happy. On pole, I had Lando. I think you had Piastri.
I did. Yep.
The answer is Max. None of us saw that coming.
God, where did that come from?
P3, I had Hamilton. Kind of hilariously enough, I guess.
I had Max Verstappen in P3.
You had a better eye for me wrong. Than I did. I had Norris in P2 though, so I got that point.
I know, you bastard. I had Oscar in P2.
I had Oscar winning it.
I had Lando winning. All I wanted was Max to lock up into that last chicane. Lando and Oscar go right by him, and then I would have got the entire podium.
Except Lando was the one that locked up, cut the chicane, and almost wiped out. So,
He did.
That was one of the commentators I even think said it at one point. Like, McLaren's strategy is waiting for Max to make a mistake. Good luck with that.
Like, yeah, that's something you cannot wait for that. He's Mr. Automatic, it seems like.
Yeah. My wild card was Stroll in the freaking top 10.
That didn't work out too good for you.
Never again.
When I saw after quali, I was like, yes, Dylan's at least not going to get this. My wild card was Yuki Tsunoda top 8, which didn't happen.
Yeah,
but I would like to say, I think that overall, this was a positive weekend for Yuki. He messed up his last quali run, which I think ruined his whole weekend or the rest of the weekend. But overall, Yuki was looking pretty good. And I think that as he grows throughout the season, I think he's going to be a contender in that car
It's
later
a tough car to drive. You got to give him some time. Unlike what they did for Lawson, but he did better than Lawson did. He showed that with quality and everything. So I'm rooting for Yuki. You got how many points? 0?
I did get 0. Thank you. You already knew that, but let's just
5-5.
Oh, I'll take that. We're like Williams and Ferrari right
now. And I have the averages set up. So far, you and I are tied, scoring 1.67 on average per weekend.
Ooh, we got to pump those numbers up.
All right. And then last but not least is the Fantasy League, which you got relegated down to P3, just like Liam Lawson. And I've moved up to P13.
All right. Who do we got? Number 1 still the same, right?
It's Friday, then it's Saturday. It's still number 1. He's got Lando. His lineup is Lando at DRS, Ocon, Behrman, Bortoletto, and Stroll. Stroll got 2 points, really? Okay. Then his teams are McLaren and Haas. Well played. We have Providence Racing in second. Ooh, he's DRS and Max Verstappen. All right, I like it. Kurt, you're in third.
All right.
And you're only in third. You should be in second because you didn't update your drivers and you got 25 penalty points.
I didn't save it. I did update it. So make sure that you actually save it or else you'll be like me and not get an update. So I screwed myself on that one. I take full responsibility.
As you should.
Oh, well. Next week will be better. Which, luckily, this is a triple header. So we're running into, you said Bahrain and then...
Bahrain, then Jeddah.
All right. Bahrain, then Jeddah. There we go. That's what I was thinking about that. So we'll be back in a couple of days with our prediction preview pod for Bahrain, which should be exciting. I feel like those teams have a lot of data on that track, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully it should be better than this weekend's race, though.
Yeah, it should be. You'd think it would be. We'll find out.
Yes, sir. We sure will. All right, Dylan, do you have anything else on this Suzuka recap?
No, I don't. I think we beat this horse as far as we possibly can.
Yes, we have. All right. Well, on that note,
stay classy, America.
We'll see you next time.